Welcome to this week's Movie Math, where Kevin Hart and a squirrel, who are about the same size, brought down Jack Ryan. But what makes this weekend really interesting is that studios are beginning to release demographic breakdowns for who turned up to see their movies. For instance, many people have bristled at calling films like Ride Along African-American films, assuming that's in reference to the cast. But in reality, just like some films are called chick flicks, it's really a reference to who's in the audience. Universal reported that domestically, 50% of the audience for Ride Along was African American, while 30% was Hispanic, 12% Caucasian, and 8% offended by the question. Just as the global audience is flexing their box office muscle, we can see demographics doing the same here in the United States. In this case, Ride Along was powered to the biggest opening of all time for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend and outperformed Tyler Perry's biggest debut ever, Medea Goes to Jail, as well as recent hits The Best Man Holiday and Think Like a Man. But even beyond that, Ride Along has outperformed similarly themed films like The Heat and Two Guns. Kevin Hart already has 2 more films slated to hit theaters this year, which Hollywood will be watching very closely, but expect him to close some more deals in the next few days or so. Universal knew they had a hit on their hands, though, and had already greenlit a Ride Along sequel back in April. It's also worth noting that the entire Ride Along team, from the 2 stars to director Tim Story to the screenwriters, are repped by United Talent Agency. That makes this a perfect example of how talent agencies are now the ones to package films in-house, which is what studios are now largely asked to pick up rather than just scripts. UTA has now brilliantly launched Kevin Hart into a film career by putting together his first leading role, something they can point out to other prospective clients, who either want to be Kevin Hart, direct him, or write for him. Another demographic that flexed their box office muscle last weekend was Middle America with Lone Survivor, and they continued to support the movie this weekend as it only fell 40% in its second weekend of wide release. And families powered The Nut Job to a surprisingly strong debut, the biggest ever for distributor Open Road Films, as well as for an animated film not from a major studio. But there was enough kitty coin to go around, as amazingly The Nut Job took just a nibble out of Frozen's box office, which fell a mere 19% in its 9th weekend. Domestically, and not adjusted for inflation, Frozen is now the 6th highest grossing animated film of all time. Plus has pulled in more money worldwide than Man of Steel, Thor the Dark World, and World War Z, and has yet to open in China and Japan, 2 animation-loving countries that could power it past Fast 6, The Desolation of Smaug, and Catching Fire. Mic drop! Now let's back up a bit to number 4, where we find the debut of Jack Ryan, who is apparently not just a shadow recruit, but in the shadows of the box office. Paramount reported that almost 40% of the audience was over the age of 50, hinting that only longtime Tom Clancy fans were curious about this new Jack Ryan. This is the lowest debut of the Jack Ryan franchise since it began way back in 1990, and shows that Chris Pine is simply not a box office draw. Luckily, he's already set to try and change things up later this year by playing a crazy bearded villain in the dark comedy Stretch, plus singing his heart out as Prince Charming in Disney's Into the Woods. This is also a blow to Kenneth Branagh, who seems to have now blown all the capital he gained directing the first Thor. Plus, Keira Knightley continues to prove she's box office poison, while Kevin Costner's big year back on the big screen, he's got 3 more movies to go, is off to a really bad start. As for the rest of the box office, Devil's Due itself seems to be cursed, as it opened in just 7th place. American Hustle enjoyed the biggest Oscar bump with an almost 30% jump thanks to all its nominations. It also picked up the equivalent of Best Picture at the SAG Awards over the weekend, while August Osage County also enjoyed a small jump of about 6%. Other hot Oscar contenders rushed back into theaters or raised their theater counts and also enjoyed renewed attention for moviegoers, yet it wasn't enough to get them back into the top 10. As for this coming weekend, I Frankenstein hits theaters and is expected to scare up only a modest debut. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.